Wait no longer, greatness has arrived. Welcome to the Trophy Room, a PlayStation podcast made by the players for the players. This is episode 284. I'm your host, Joseph, aka Mr. Badbit, and it is here where me and my best friend Kyle talk about the latest, the greatest in all things PlayStation. Of course, this week, we're talking about how Microsoft claps back at Sony's claims of Activision Blizzard's deal being anti-competitive. We're going to be talking about how Square Enix could be selling even more of its stakes to more studios, our Cult of the Lamb and Spider-Man Steam Deck reviews, and our cheap plats ruining the PlayStation Store. All that and more. But with all that said, with all that out of the way, the greatest co-host whoever is, whoever will be, Mr. Kyle Stevenson. How are you, sir?
I'm okay. I would like to say I'm doing great.
Yeah.
But there's a multitude of things that are happening. I think last week I spoke about my teeth.
Yeah. Now it's your back.
Yeah, now it's my back. So I went to the dentist. Need 2 root canals. Fun. 2 in crowns. All that, whatever.
Is it next to your and your crack?
What? All the sweat down my back because it's really, really hot right now. The really bummed thing about that, and I hate starting this off on a sour, bad bummer note, but I just gotta let this out.
Please.
My dental insurance with work. All the major stuff doesn't kick in until September 20th.
So you gotta wait till September 20th?
I cannot wait with this pain, Joe. I need to get it out.
Fair.
So it's gonna be like $4,000, everything without insurance.
You gotta get it done. I know it's a lot right now.
I got it done. I know. But then, better. Friday after work, when I get home from work, it usually means nap time with the little man and myself in our hammock outside.
Yeah.
Hammock's been wonderful. I love the thing for 2 years. It's been one of my favorite things we've got at this house. Friday afternoon, the hammock decided to betray me. And I'm laying in the hammock with little man on me. He's fast asleep. All of a sudden, I hear a creak. I was like, what is that? That's weird. Next thing I know, I'm on the ground. Mm-hmm. The hammock, the bolt that held the hammock up by my head snapped and broke off of the wooden post.
Oh my God.
And I fell like 3.5 feet straight down to the ground, flat on my back. On top of like rocks and stuff because it's a dirt area.
No,
little man was totally fine. Owen was totally fine. I held him tight. Everyone that saw it happen was like, you covered him up and held him like,
yeah.
And so, but he, he's 25, 30 pounds, landed straight on my rib. So I have a bruised rib.
Oof.
Which is better, but my back is still very tight and whatnot.
Yeah.
And it's just really hot. It's a heat wave. So a multitude of things. It just all sucks right now. But Cult of the Lambs tomorrow, I'm very happy.
There you go. Well, Kyle, here's the thing. When you told me you have a hammock, I knew that this day was coming.
No.
We're big men, Kyle. We're large and in charge.
Listen, we did the research. This hammock can hold 600 pounds. I am not a 600-pound human.
Even then, I'm like, I don't trust gravity in this moment and string to hold up my body.
But it's not. It is a very thick, knotted thing. So the hammock itself didn't break.
Right.
It was the metal bracket that the hammock attaches to.
And that's the thing.
That is what came out.
My life is in the hands of one bolt.
I know. Listen,
I barely trust this chair. You know what I mean?
We got new heavy-duty bolts that are going to be better.
And you're going to try it again?
Dude, the relaxation.
You're a brave soul. I would not. I'd be afraid of trees, let alone hammocks after that incident.
Listen, I've seen the Mark Wahlberg movie. I know trees are evil at the end of the day.
They're all trying to kill us. That's a fact.
That's all they're trying to do.
You know? Well, Kyle, listen, we're going to be talking about some pretty big breaking news that came in about Xbox responding to last week Sony claiming Activision Blizzard's acquisition means it could be anti-competitive for them in their space. But before we talk about all of that, I want to just highlight a little bit of housekeeping. The Trophy Room Community Stream Day.
Ooh.
On August 27th, the Trophy Room community streams. Everybody's welcome. We have a laundry list of games, and the community has also been throwing a ton of games and suggestions our way. So right now we got Fall Guys, We got
Yeah.
Among Us. We got a
Sweet.
little fork knife. And
Oh,
we're even
okay.
going to try to see if we can't have a multiverses like bracket.
Like a tourney?
Attorney, baby.
Ooh, that
all,
sounds like fun.
all for bragging rights, all on August 27th at noon EST. We will be streaming for at least 12 hours. There'll be a whole bunch of games, live shows, even a live bonus episode of the Trophy Room that you'll only get on that stream. So make sure you check it out. August 27th. Clear your calendars, okay?
Some really cool and fun things that I can't wait to show off.
And to announce, because we even got some new shows that we'll be announcing, but all that's coming to plan. I've talked to the right people. We're getting the ducks in a row. We got even more stuff we're going to be pumping out next week as well. So be on the lookout for that. The Trophy Room Community Stream Day, August 27th. Join us, would you kindly? Link to our Twitch in the description for all that. And of course,
I love how you're trying to Bioshock everyone to come and hang out. Would you kindly?
Would you kindly? I do that now at work. Nobody knows but me, and I have a little giggle. Yeah, because like nobody's gamers at work.
Yeah.
So like I get the inside little, haha, look at me.
What
and
was his name? Spoilers for Bioshock. What, Andrew Ryan, right?
Yeah, Andrew Ryan. Yeah.
Okay. I knew it was two.
Well, that's who
names.
that's who we're going after. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't
Atlas
trust
and all
somebody
that.
with two first names.
Are you
That's
a
a
sheep?
rule I live by.
Was it a slave obeys? Something like that along those lines. It's been a couple of years. Fantastic scene though. I remember that scene, Kyle, and going, wow, like this is like Joe 13, 14, learning about Ayn Rand for the first time. I'm like, wow, this world's nuts. Video games can do this. Wizardry. That said, it's time for a Patreon pitch. I want to thank a whole bunch of new patrons that have come our way. I want to thank Nicholas Johnson, Katie Stubbs, Katie, M9 Prime, and Jeremy Rothig, all of which are on the Silver member or Silver Plus. I want to thank our Platinum members, Todd Burowitz and Toxic. I want to thank our Gold members, Too Soon, Gavin Gottfried, Jose Jimenez, Jedi Master Ran, Metal Kirby, Stephen Flesh, Doth Simon the Pie Man, Chaotic Monkey, and Strubles and Bits. I want to thank our Silver Plus members, Awesome Dave, Hide Indoors, Marcus O'Neill, JB the Purple Monkey, Jedus Von Metal, Tim Ulf, Justin Rodriguez, Cypher Primus, Captain Logan, Brenton Zachary, K Grim, Rick Arrington, Dewane Rockshaw, The Good Sir, Mr. and Mrs. Nasty Boots, Drellish, Foolish Fuji, Any Day Now, Kevin Mitchell, Kevin Diaz, The Lord, Commander Corgi, Elo 2032, Jinx, The 33rd, Bubble Boy N7, Jesse Garcia, Hambone, The Aztec King, Millennial Falcon Gaming, Stone Cold E.T., Astronaut Jr., not to be confused with Astronaut Senior, and Green Gorilla Gamer. Thank you all so much. It's what we say each and every week. You guys keep the lights on. You keep us looking good. You keep us sounding great. All because of your generosity at patreon.com/PS Trophy Room. And more cool stuff coming along the way. Yes.
When you think of Astronaut Jr.,
yeah,
what do you imagine in your head? Because I have some real dumb in my head.
Okay, let's do this. I'm thinking like Buzz Aldrin's son.
Oh, just an actual regular sized human. I was thinking a just mini astronaut.
Like Returnal mini astronaut?
Yes, exactly.
So I'm thinking
like a Funko Pop version of an actual astronaut.
Well, I'm thinking Buzz Aldrin has an ego after he's been on the moon or whatever. So like he's always in the astronaut attire, helmet and all. And he's dropping his kid off, Astronaut Junior, at elementary school, but he's also dressed the same costume and everything.
Astronaut Aldrin Jr.
Exactly.
What was it, 30 Rock, where they had the Buzz Aldrin thing where he was mad at the moon?
Yep.
Okay. Man, 30 Rock is a treasure.
God, it's such a gem. Everybody, please go back to 30 Rock. Please, for the love of God. That said, Kyle, those are our amazing patrons. That's the origin of Astronaut Jr. Now, it is time to square up the news.
First bit of news that needs to be squared up is from Chris Scullion over at VGC, and Chris writes, Microsoft shoots down Sony's claims that its Activision acquisition is anti-competitive. Microsoft has spoken out against Sony's claims that its ongoing attempt to acquire Activision Blizzard would be anti-competitive, especially with regards to Call of Duty. Last month, Sony told Brazil's regulatory body, CADE, which is investigating the acquisition, that the acquisition could influence players to switch from PlayStation and Xbox. At the time, it argued, quote, Call of Duty is so popular that it influences users' choice of console, and its community of loyal users is entrenched enough that even if a competitor had the budget to develop a similar product, it would not be able to rival it, end quote. Now, according to Reset Era member IDIS, Microsoft has replied to Cade with a lengthy response dismissing Sony's claims. Microsoft stated, quote, not surprisingly, Sony was the only third party to convey public opinion materially different from Microsoft Activision Blizzard King and the third parties regarding the competitive analysis of the transaction, end quote. Microsoft claimed that Sony doesn't want to see Call of Duty games on Game Pass on day one because it, quote, is not resigned to having to compete with Microsoft's subscription service, end quote. Sony's public outcry on subscription games and the company's response are clear. Sony doesn't want attractive subscription services to threaten its dominance in the market for digital distribution of console games, end quote. It claims. Oh, man, they keep throwing quotes in. I'm sorry, I'm messing this up.
No,
Quote,
you're
in other words, Sony rails against the introduction of new monetization models capable of challenging its business model. Microsoft also shoots down Sony's claims that Call of Duty is a category of games in itself, stating, quote, the PlayStation itself has a foundation established by players loyal to the brand. This finding, however, does not lead to the conclusion that the PlayStation or any branded product with loyal consumers is a separate market from all other consoles. Extrapolating from such a finding, the extreme conclusion that Call of Duty is a game category in itself is simply unjustifiable under any quantitative or qualitative analysis. It also lists 5 reasons arguing against Sony's claim that the addition of Activision Blizzard games to Game Pass would lead to an unattainable lead in subscription services from Microsoft. According to Microsoft, this claim is wrong because, how do I say this in word form? Just step one?
Yeah, step one.
Point one. Point one. It's not part of Microsoft's strategy to remove content from players, and Call of Duty will still be on PlayStation as a paid title. Point two. Data shows that players see subscription services as only one way to pay for games. Point three. Sony's claim ignores the dynamic nature of subscription services and the fact that Sony has its own too. Point four. Redacted information.
I want to know what that is.
Yeah, right. Point 5. There are numerous other game distribution channels and subscription services, many of which include content that isn't available on Xbox. Microsoft also claims that arranging exclusivity deals has been at the heart of Sony's strategy to strengthen its position in the games industry, and that as well as having its own first-party exclusives, it also has exclusivity deals with third-party publishers. It also claims that Sony actively tries to hamper Game Pass's growth by paying some developers for quote-unquote blocking rights to prevent them from adding content to Game Pass. Finally, Microsoft claims that not having Call of Duty games on PlayStation wouldn't make business sense because it would only be profitable if enough people jumped over to Xbox to make up for the money lost from not selling PlayStation copies. Y'all, I'm sorry I butchered that.
That comes from you. That doesn't come from
me. That is
Scally.
not Chris. That's not Chris.
No,
That's
you did fantastic. You did fantastic. There's a lot of like lawyer robot speak in all of this. But this is a better attempt than like their gut reaction last week, which literally happened after we recorded, which was a very silly quote from Xbox saying, quote, Microsoft told regulators in New Zealand that Activision Blizzard doesn't make any must-have games. But y'all spent $70 billion.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like that's kind of a silly thing to say, but like,
yeah,
there's a lot of points here that are incredibly interesting. Like, Xbox admits it's not profitable for COD to be an Xbox exclusive, and the claim, which is a fact, PlayStation is paying devs and publishers not to put their games on Game Pass. Put an asterisk there in their exclusive deal contracts. So like we saw this with games like Resident Evil Village, where PlayStation was like, hey, listen, we want to, help fund your game. We'll help market your game. We'll pay for all that, sort of stuff. But you have to give us a special mode here, a special mode there, or a weapon skin there. And for like a year, this game can't show up on a competitor's streaming service.
Yeah.
right? So I think a lot of people are kind of taking this story and running with it. They're like, PlayStation doesn't want anybody to know this. It's like, I kind of thought, I don't know about you, Kyle, I kind of thought this was common knowledge.
We brought it up before.
Yeah.
We spent years or months
Yeah.
working in a GameStop
Yeah.
where we had to shill, hey, get these Call of Duty maps on Xbox first for 3 months.
Yeah.
Is that not the same thing?
I mean, they're like, well, you're holding it back from us, but it's just like, well,
but at that time they were holding the maps from PlayStation players.
Exactly.
You know?
And like, we all hate, like, real talk. None of us like this.
No, they held Tomb Raider's sequel for a full year.
Because like, as like hardcore gamers as we are, and you listening or watching, y'all know that like these maps are eventually going to come to Xbox, or these things are eventually going to come to PlayStation, or the game. Like a great example, Tunic. Launch exclusive, or it launched exclusively on Xbox, coming to PlayStation in September. Like,
we know Nobody Saves the World.
Yeah,
it was on Xbox. A few months later, it came to PlayStation.
We know that those games are going to eventually hop over, and we'll just be like, okay, well, we'll wait, or hey, we'll just check it out on Game Pass, because that's the promise of the subscription service.
Yeah,
I think you'd be naive to say that Microsoft doesn't do this as well. Like, look, Nobody Saved the World on PlayStation. It's not on their Plus service. Like the Yakuza series has just gotten to PlayStation Plus, right? Yeah. Tunic will launch in September, not on the PlayStation, Plus service. So it's just like, do you not see that they probably do the same here? I understand.
And if we were to put our like corporate hats on for a second, why would you not do this?
Exactly.
Like at the end of the day, you want people playing on your platform,
right? So
you can earn money in all ways, shapes, and forms. Like, would you not do the same? Like, I honestly, it's not as evil or money hungry, greedy as I think a lot of people make it out to be.
Yeah,
it's just like you have to look after your brand and your product, so you're going to do whatever you want to get people into that ecosystem and using that product.
And I think of it the same as like, I mean, you take a look at any streaming service outside of gaming, right? Like Uncharted is currently exclusive to Netflix streaming. I can't get that anywhere else. I have to, if I want a streaming service, I have to go there. Then when you take a look at like Peacock has The Northman. I'm never going to buy Peacock ever. I don't know what they're thinking. I will wait till The Northman goes to, Netflix, or goes to Hulu, or goes wherever. Like, these deals happen literally all the time in like movies and TV. And maybe that's the reason why I'm so, I guess, like numb to this news, where it's just like, we knew about this. This is the new timed exclusive deal evolving into the new future that is streaming. And I think Xbox is totally right here too, where they're just like, listen, PlayStation does this all the time. I'll pull out the quote here again. Microsoft claims that arranging exclusivity deals has been at the heart of Sony's strategy to strengthen its position in the games industry, and that as well as having its own first-party exclusives. It has exclusive deals with third-party publishers. So, like, by them saying that, it's just like, look at Final Fantasy VII. Like, look at Final Fantasy 16. Look at Spider-Man. Like, look at all these things that PlayStation has locked up. Look at them going for gold for Star Wars: The Old Republic. Like, PlayStation does this too. So we're not being evil by putting this on a streaming service. And as they say, the data reflects that people only see this as another way to purchase games. So I actually do side here with Microsoft going, is Sony being hypocritical? Absolutely. And at the same exact time, noting that PlayStation's doing this because, I mean, what Microsoft said, they want to remain their dominance. They want to keep the status quo as is because the status quo is treating them right. Yeah. This is a disruptive way of how we're not just gaming, but how consuming it, but how developers and publishers are putting out their games and how and when. So, like, if I'm Sony, I want to do the same. I don't know. Any extra thoughts on that, Kyle?
Yeah, no, I think, Yeah, I think Microsoft's in the right as well, and I go back to last week when we talked about it. To me,
I
it
wouldn't
still
even say
feels
right, Kyle. I just think
no,
like
but like I understand where they're coming
business.
from.
Yeah.
Yeah, business. But I go back to like last
The
week
meme.
where, yeah, business. It's a cat with a briefcase, a
Yeah.
little hat on it. We go back to last week when I said like it just feels like they are writing in diaries.
Yeah.
And now Microsoft found Sony's diary and it's writing a response on their blog on Tumblr or something. Like that's
yeah. I found something really interesting today. I'm gonna let all of the high school know about it. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's just it's whatever to me. We've also mentioned before, like it seems every console generation things switch.
Yeah.
So like no doubt in my mind will Xbox be on the other side of this and doing a similar thing, and Nintendo will try as well to do something similar. Like they are all vying for your hard-earned money.
Well, Nintendo's too busy suing their own fans, but yes, I get it.
Sure. But
we're just trying to emulate the games you're not selling. That's all. What they're doing, I don't care for it.
It's just to me, this whole thing is just blown out of proportion.
It is because
you brought up something though that's interesting, and I had the same thought while I was
Please.
reading through this. What is that redacted information?
That's the really interesting.
What kind
thing.
of dirt do they have on Sony, or is it like does Sony have like something in the works?
I mean, it could be
about?
that conversation that Phil had with Jim. They're like, "Hey, listen, we've already hashed this out," or "Hey, this is redacted information because it involves us making a deal with like the United States government that we will keep some games multi-platform." Like it could be things like that. You know,
something more serious. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I think that could be. It's more likely. Now, we got two people writing in. Luke Snore over at the Xbox Expansion Pass, who I named my boat after in Sea of Thieves. The boat's name is Luke's mom. She can handle 4 men, and she holds quite a lot of loads.
Oh,
all right.
Oh, boy. I feel like you should have used the bleep button.
All right. It is something, he says, is it something to be outraged for about a company to pay for exclusive windows of time for their platform? If I'm a Sony gamer, I'm pleased to see a company working to satiate its fans. If I'm an Xbox gamer, I'm anxious to see my company work to compete. That crossplay though, ... And Suko217 writes, Xbox needs to remember how they played the exclusivity game in the 360 era. It ain't PS's fault that they dropped the ball trying to focus on multimedia with the Xbone and now having to catch up. I say it's just business as usual, and we're just eating popcorn and enjoying the view.
Exactly.
Two different approaches. Xbox is just like, hey, listen, we don't need to make these big deals because we'll acquire some studios. We'll acquire enough studios that hey, there's going to be something for you every single year. And we're going to make these deals with second party or indies that will be on GamePass. And that $15 versus 60 or 70, that's what we're really competing with. Like when Xbox says, listen, we're not, and they literally said it in this quote, we're not interested in selling boxes. Like that's not our only goal. Our goal is this service. And so like, to me, I can't help but kind of agree. Like, if I'm an Xbox fan, I'm looking at this going, okay, now Xbox, start securing some more deals in the holiday season, right? Like rumor has it's right now only Plague Tale. We'll have them scoop up something else. If you're an Xbox fan, you're eager. This year has been kind of dry for you guys.
Don't sleep on High on Life.
What's that?
That game looks rad.
Oh,
High
that's from
yeah, Squanch Games.
Squanch Games, yeah. But like with Suko as well, like again, Xbox is going in their own different direction. I just think it's really interesting that, like, you're right. This kind of all seems a little immature. And I also think you're right, Kyle, by saying Xbox has changed the game this generation so much so that I am firmly in the camp that they are the industry leader right now.
Yeah.
Like, if I have to say, like, who is paving the way this generation, who are we talking about the most? It's Xbox. They like who has excuse me, who has control of the conversation? I just always seem it's Xbox. And so like for me, I'm fine with that because I play my PlayStation. I enjoy it. I enjoy this ecosystem. I think we get lost in the like who's first, who's second, and who's on third type of thing, where it's like none of that really matters. Let's just kind of enjoy our ecosystems together. You know?
I would agree. That's not to say PlayStation is so far behind. Like they're gonna have their moments. Like this holiday season, PlayStation's going to be the talk of the town because they have a lot of amazing heavy hitters coming out. Last of Us Part 1, God of War Ragnarok, like other branded things that I can't
Yeah, like
think of
Hogwarts Legacy, Call of Duty still for a minute.
Sure. So like they're no slouches either, but when you think of what this generation is, what about this generation is making it stand apart from all the other ones, it is that Game Pass. It is that Xbox really leading the charge of a new way to play your games, and PlayStation is playing catch up, and they're not quite there yet, as we will talk later about this PlayStation Plus overhaul.
And the thing is, I think we get like caught up in like, oh, they're not there, that means like they're in dire straits and this is the worst thing. No, it's just like, no. We enjoy our ecosystem. We're playing on that ecosystem. We continue to cover and prefer this ecosystem. But it's just going to note that like how PlayStation's going to adapt to this is going to be the interesting thing, right? And you see them doing it. And PlayStation Plus, as we talk about, is getting better and better. And that with time, even PlayStation admits here, that with time, we will get there as well. It's just how long does it take and what roads do they really take? What route do they take to get there? That's what I'm interested about. And the other interesting thing is I've been told time and time again, don't worry, PlayStation folks, you're back in, trust me, is that you don't pay $70 billion to make things multi-platform. Call of Duty right here, right now. Xbox has said it's not touching it. It would be unprofitable if they tried to remove it from the PlayStation ecosystem. And that redacted information's also extremely telling of what else they're not taking away or what else they are taking away from this, from these deals and what's going on behind the scenes. So like for me, there's a lot of moving parts here that in between what seems like a just catty fight between two juggernaut companies.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there you go. I hope we don't have to talk about this ever again, Kyle.
I hope so too.
All right. So now we've
It's just people fighting over their billions of dollars. It makes me sick.
It literally, at the end of the day, we've solved it. So there's a new types of deals when it comes to exclusivity. So expect that. Call of Duty is not going anywhere, so expect that. And expect Xbox to continue to be this aggressive and PlayStation adapting at the same exact time.
Yep.
That said, Kyle, let's talk about the next story on the list, which is also kind of an additive of last week's talk that we had.
From GameSpot, Darren Bonthus. Darren, I'm sorry if I said your last name wrong. Square Enix could be selling stakes in even more studios. Square Enix is looking to devote more resources to its Japan titles and projects. Following its latest earnings call, Square Enix is reportedly looking to sell stakes in some of its development studios in an effort to devote more resources to select titles. According to games industry analyst David Gibson, the publisher will be reviewing its portfolio to see which studios it will want to retain full ownership of or offer stakes to other interested companies. As Gibson explained, Square Enix views this strategy as a way to devote, quote, resources mainly to Japan titles, unquote, and could see interest from Sony, Tencent, and Nexon. Some of the studios that Square Enix currently has under its belt include the 4 creative business units responsible for Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts, and smaller titles, Luminous Productions, which is currently developing Forspoken, and Tokyo RPG Factory. As Gibson noted, Square Enix's strategy is unusual as it has zero debt and more than enough operating cash to fund game development. Quote, post the Crystal Dynamics Eidos Montreal sale, the company will have $1.4 billion in cash and zero debt, Gibson explained, which is plenty to fund expanded game investment and not sell down stakes in its studios, end quote. The earnings call also addressed the recent sale of Square Enix's Western studios Eidos Montreal and Crystal Dynamics to Embracer Group. According to Gibson, these studios quote-unquote cannibalize sales from the rest of the group in general. That sale was phase 1 of Square Enix's plan, while phase 2 will include the portfolio review. The publisher has also confirmed plans to invest in blockchain and NFT technologies, ideas that are at odds with themes of one of its best-selling games, Final Fantasy VII. Square Enix has plenty of games lined up for the future, which could make its proposition attractive to potential investors. An overhaul of Tactics Ogre is on the way. Forspoken will release next year, and Harvestella looks delicious. That's Darren, by the way. Beyond those games, the company's heavyweight Final Fantasy franchise will see the launch of Final Fantasy 16 in summer 2023 and Final Fantasy Rebirth in winter 2023.
What the hell is going on with Square Enix, y'all? let's just talk about it, Kyle. First off, you nailed it. And I know your mute button doesn't work, so everybody.
Yeah, my mute button's not working, so I'm trying not to cough and
you're talking a lot. Don't worry, you earned it. Okay, you earned it. You're doing God's work.
Appreciate it.
Kyle, what the hell's going on with Square, man?
Because I don't know, man. What they have zero debt. They don't have to sell anything. And again, I hate to reuse the same reference or idea, but when they were like, "Hey, Eidos Montreal and Crystal Dynamics," they're making enough money where no one's buying our other games. It's very high school catty stuff. Like I don't. It's so
How
annoying.
Are they cannibalizing it?
Just make good games. That's all. You have no debt.
But it's just like, how is Crystal Dynamics cannibalizing Final Fantasy?
Right?
How is Eidos cannibalizing?
Who's buying Avengers to be like, you know what? I am not buying Final Fantasy Remake Part 7 Remake.
It makes no sense. And you know, from what I've been seeing, for the most part, is just like, this is a very good plan for the short term, but for the long term of this company, it really just goes to show that something's happening.
Whoever's in charge of Square, hold on a second. I need to ask you this question.
Yeah.
How do games like Tomb Raider and Guardians of the Galaxy not meet your sales expectations, but then also cannibalize sales from the rest of the group? How does that make any sense?
I really feel like these are BS excuses for them to sell themselves.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I'm kind of seeing here. That's like, I'm reading the tea leaves. You have all these games coming out from September to November, right? And everybody's like, why are all these games coming out right now? Like, this is wild that like Dinofield Chronicles, Dinofield and Valkyrie Chronicles are coming out weeks apart. Like, you know, you got 2 remasters in November with Final Fantasy and Ogre Tactics, right? Which looks fantastic. But like, why? It's like, well, you're probably unloading a whole bunch of stuff before something's happening. That's how I feel of it. It's like, why would you unload Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal? Because you're unloading because you're looking for something. You know, you're looking for a potential buyer. That's what I've been seeing. And listen, I'm a big dumb idiot. I'm not going to claim like every other Sony or PlayStation insider that I have any knowledge. But to me, from what I'm seeing, and I think we've had a pretty good track record of just going with our gut, all signs lead to Square is selling pieces of itself. Because it does. I think it doesn't think it can. Because look, you're debt free for the moment. You're cash rich. You're focusing on JRPGs. You got out of the Western development scene. There's not a lot of growth options at that point. And I think they have, I hate to say failed, but for lack of better words, failed to hit that global audience with other IP that they're like, okay, I think we need to start offloading ourselves, get acquired so that we could get refocused, or our task could be we're just making these JRPGs and all that stuff. Being a part of a bigger unit, a bigger conglomerate is what I think is their plan.
I hate to even think about this. It will make me so sad that Square Enix one day will turn into a Konami situation, or
that's what I feel too.
Or in like regular pop culture situation, a Blockbuster, where they were heavy hitters. They were mainstays in everyone's neighborhood or in everyone's gaming catalog. But then they just were like, you know what? We're done with games. It sounds like they're done with games.
Right.
And
it's like we got our Final Fantasy, our Kingdom Hearts, and some of our obscure stuff, right? Like
it's just like they're done, and they they got brainwashed by the crypto bros, and Square Enix is not going to be the thing that I want them to be and make great RPGs. Because to me, a healthy video game industry is going to be benefited by a healthy Square Enix making great RPGs.
Yeah.
Without them, it's gonna be sad.
It really is. I think you're absolutely right. That's why I want them to get saved. I mean, not even get saved. I want them to focus up and lose this crypto bullcrap. Like I saw on the Evo 4, PlayStation was asking about NFTs. PlayStation, don't want them. Nobody wants them.
Don't do it.
The market's already cratered. There's no interest. None.
Oh my God.
Stop it. Knock it off. Like
that will never happen, hopefully. But if it does, that week's episode of this show is just us yelling, "Stop it!" for 2 hours.
Knock it off. The Michael Jordan thing. Get help.
Are you dumb? What are you doing?
But it's just like NFTs in their current form right now. They're not it, and I don't think they're gonna be it in the gaming field. And when I take a look at Square Enix making this pivot, it really does depress me, because it's like, yeah, look, Final Fantasy, 7 Rebirth, Final Fantasy 16, they both look great. Your MMO's doing
remake,
fantastic.
Remaster, whatever you want to say.
Yeah, like you got Dragon Quest. It's also on the rise. So like, it's just like you have these games and franchises
in video games
that people love.
Yeah,
keep making them. Keep believing in these creators, not these, what I feel, in my opinion, are Ponzi schemes that are these NFTs. That's all I got. That's all I got out of this.
Square Enix, please. Also, can we just take a second?
Yeah, please.
I don't see it coming up in any other place.
Please. Yeah.
I feel like you might be different from me on this one.
What's that?
People need to stop being so harsh on that Forspoken trailer. I think it's refreshing. I get it's funny to meme it. I 100% get it.
So you're telling me I'm on another world shooting magic and talking to my cuffs?
Listen, I love that kind of refreshing thing. That's obviously not going to be in the game. That's just for
I'm hunting mythical monsters and like it's silly.
It is silly, but I kind of love it, and I'm still super excited about the game. People need to chill out a little bit. I'm leaning on. I don't think this game's gonna be good, but I'm rooting for it. And so let me get this straight. I love there's a Bloodborne one. It's like, I'm seeing freaking werewolves. Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. And I'm talking to a doll.
It's very funny. The parodies and stuff are funny, but like be a little too harsh on it.
Yeah, again, we need to see one more of this thing of this game.
Yep.
To get us one over, because everything that I'm seeing, the writing is not there. And the combat also may not be there too. But you're right. Again, Square, go find yourselves.
Please
do what you need to.
Go on a sabbatical.
Yeah.
Go do some ayahuasca in the fields and then come back.
Go do peyote in the desert somewhere. Come back to us with your religious experience.
Yep.
To Square, nobody else. And kids listening, don't look up what peyote is.
Nope.
I think it's a cactus. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
a purple coyote.
Oh, all right, Kyle. Listen, I want to talk about this next story, and it's all your fault.
It's all my fault. Oh boy, that's a lot of baggage to carry.
Yeah, man.
From Push Square, Sammy Barker writes, "Press X for trophies is a sad indictment of PS5 and PS4 today. Sony has a big problem on its hands, and it's not clear how it's going to solve it. While previous oddities like My Name is Mayo and Mr. Masagi were fun platinum novelties, the PS Store is now getting absolutely overrun by small developers who've all cottoned on to the same thing. Easy trophies attached to low-effort titles means big profits. We've seen an absolute avalanche of shovelware these past few months, many of which are asset swaps of the exact same game built around the idea of awarding a platinum in a minute or less. But now, developers aren't even trying to hide it. Press X for Trophies is a new game, quote unquote, officially announced and with a product listing on the PS Store right now. While you can't buy it just yet, no release date is mentioned, the product description almost makes a mockery of the platform holder's plaza. Quote, games are often made to be challenging. Well, at least they used to be. These days, things are a little easier. Press X for Trophies is a game made to help spread the word of how things should change and how the world of gaming is changing. It's slightly ironic, and the story is told through its trophy system, end quote. So it seems this developer has made a parody of the declining quality of the content on the PS Store, or at least that's what we're inferring from the description. Sony has removed games like this before. The infamous 1000 top rated got booted from the storefront, only to be repackaged as Slide a little later. But we're not entirely convinced the company has a case anymore when it's letting titles like Jump Jump and the Jumping Noodles run riot.
Ooh-wee, Kyle, crushing it again. M9 Prime writes in, just like you can too if you add us over at PS Trophy Room or be part of our Discord server, link in the description. Prime writes, how does it feel? How do you feel about the easy platinum games being... Oh, no, this one's directed at you. Look at, I messed up this time. Kyle, how does it feel about easy platinums being called out all of a sudden? Also, why is it suddenly being called out? Is this has been going on forever? Is it just getting way worse? Great question, and I butchered that. Kyle,
you're good.
Why is everybody yelling at you?
That's a great question. Why now? Why now? I mean, are we at the point where, like, we joked around a few weeks ago of people just bringing up old rumors again about because they needed a clickbait title?
Yeah.
Like, why is it now? Is it because this one game with the title Press X for Trophies? Is that why? What if that title was a different thing and it was just like Tiger, for lack of a better word, and that's the name of the game? Would we still have this conversation?
I mean, I think I see Brian from PS4 Trophies. He's been going on like some investigative things of like how a lot of these just are, lazy asset flips. A lot of these are
100%
developers like taking advantage of how the platinum system works and just it is just a bunch of shovelware. And I think when I take a look at what's going on right now, I think part of it is, you're right, Kyle, it's a slow-ish news week and people want to throw PlayStation and controversy together and they know that's going to get a click. But it is a problem. I mean, like, how many times do we go through Prepare the Drop and you name, 3 or 4 games on that list of like just 15 that are just, that's a 5-minute trophy. That's a 1-minute trophy. That's a 1-minute trophy. That is going to flood the store. And you're not going to have any good, I guess, exploration of that storefront to find an indie that may not be like, your Cult of the Lambs or whatever have you, that are going to be the ones that are from those like 3-5 passionate developers and the smaller publishers and smaller PR teams that are pushing those games out. And now all of a sudden, because, there are 5 games ahead of it that are all just clickbait shovelware, they don't get that click because the person doesn't scroll down enough because those games are just kind of in the way. I definitely understand that. I do think it is a problem that PlayStation does need to curate and kind of solve, because this is hurting indies.
Here's the thing though, is they do.
Yeah.
I couldn't find it on the web-based version of the PlayStation Store for some unknown reason. It was not a part of it maybe 30 minutes ago. But on the console version of PSN, when you go on the store under collections, there is an indies button, and you go into that indies, it will have the big name indies and other indie games that are well worth your time and dollar and are not easy platinums like these games are. The issue is when you go to everything that's released, then yes, I agree, it does get a little bogged down with all that stuff, and it might be a little bit too much to ask everyone to do this, but there are ways where you can filter that out. You can filter out, don't show me anything under $5.
Well,
which again, that's more on you and not more of the PlayStation curating and weeding out this shovelware stuff. I understand people want to have I'm not going to say that because that makes me
just say it.
The pure PSN store of only pure video games.
Yeah.
I get why they want that and why they feel like the trophy is being devalued in some way. But I take the same approach that I do to, I won't get too deep into it, but like real political issues. Like, does it affect you in any way?
I think who it's affecting is the smaller developers, because like, to me, I try to find games on that. I go and I surf the PSN, and it's a lot of like waifu simulator, and I'm like, but where's the good? Like, where's that little indie? It's somewhere that's gonna interest me.
I get that.
There's a whole lot of shovelware there, and there's a whole lot of like jumping toast, jumping bread, jumping this, jumping that, and what I think a lot of us fear is the Steam store, where it's very like laissez-faire, anything goes, and it's a garbage store where so many developers have to find ways to cheat the system just to get noticed in that storefront. It's literally an arm and a leg to try to navigate to get your game on there. It is such a hassle, where when I was working in the industry, a lot of folks were just like, we live and die by the likes, by you rating us, by
and wish listing and stuff,
wish listing
stuff.
The discount immediately. Like, those are the only way that you're going to get noticed, because there's so much, to lack of better words, there's so much in that storefront. And that's what people are afraid here, is like, how many, like, what is it, like Crouching Black Tiger games are there now? It has exploded to such a huge extent, or to such a huge degree, where there are legitimately great games. Like, I think of games that are smaller in scope, like RimWorld, right? RimWorld isn't going to be on that state of play. It's not going to be on that Xbox whatever, but it's a great little game that might be overseen because there's so much stuff kind of on top of it, where how many times am I going to actually hit scroll down? Like, if a Google list, if 95 or 98% of people don't hit the second page of Google, how many people are actually going to scroll down to find that next game if every other game is press X for trophies?
I gotcha. Yeah, I get where people are coming from with this, but to play devil's advocate, aren't all storefronts like this? Well, all storefronts are really bad when it comes to this kind of shovelware stuff. These games, I went on the Xbox store.
It's a Kratos game.
Of the what?
There's a Kratos. Did you see the acid flip?
I did not see that one. No.
It's like North God war game.
I love it. I love it.
It's like a PS1 looking Kratos in a Coliseum.
Yeah, but like, I went on the Xbox store again on PC. I don't know if it's different on console itself, but there are many games that were on the PlayStation newest releases of those kind of like smaller things that were also on the Xbox store. Yeah. So like, and I'm sure Nintendo is also notoriously pretty bad for getting those games noticed, because their whole eShop is a mess.
Their whole eShop is a mess, and there's so many games flooding the Switch as well.
Yes.
That's the thing. I think there's so much, I hate to say it, there's a whole lot of garbage flooding these shops. And it's not like well-intentioned folks where it's just like, I want to get this game out here. It's a lot of, what's an easy trophy? Or what's an easy 1,000 whatever.
And so, well, again, that's something where I did have this thought when I was thinking about going into this battle. I feel like it's the world against Kyle now, when it comes to easy trophies. But like, again, Xbox fans, don't come at me for this one. If achievements were on the same level as trophies, the same problem would happen in that store.
You know what? Everybody go fight Kyle.
Go ahead. My DMs are open. Feel free.
You know how many? No. You know how many people have gone up to me? They're like, "What's your achievement list like? What's it all about? Do you have over 40,000? It's okay. 40." Like, they do value it. They absolutely do.
They do, but not in the same way.
I think,
you know what I'm saying? There's more trophy hunters, I feel like, than achievement hunters, even though there's a whole YouTube channel, but they rarely hunt for achievements. You know,
Kyle's on the defense right now, like they're even taking his safe. Like, these kids are really going after him.
Give me the glove. I'll put it on my hand. I'll show you it fits.
The Muffin Mun writes in, do you think the PlayStation Store needs more moderation and curation? If these shovelware games are Jumping Food need to exist, can they be moved into a separate section so that actual indie games worth playing can be discovered? I can't help but feel sorry for indie developers making good games and not crash grab $1 platinums are missing out by the sales and being lumped together. This is a really great question because it's not an easy fix. Like there are games like Vampire Survivor, I think that's on Steam. Okay. That is a $5 game and it is a gem of a title, right? From what I hear. It's fantastic. But like, and it's a 1 in a million game as well because it's a very small, low budget game. So like by going, this is just the dollar, this is the bargain bin. Like that doesn't sound good for games that think like, hey, we're worth $5, but like we're really we got the heart of a $10 game.
Yeah.
Right.
I got you.
So like we can't do that. And you can't, it is a lot of ask of like because it's a big ask of like what does the curation process look like how games are already put on the store, how games are reviewed, how games are past certification. So by just saying it needs stricter certification, well, that's money in a pipeline that PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, Steam don't really want to pay. And I think the truth of the matter is until these games don't make as much money, is the day where you'll see Xbox and PlayStation curate them. But they do need better curation. And it starts by, I think, a better certification process by going, listen, your game needs more input than this. Your game needs to last more than a minute. Like I don't know what the barrier to entry is, but I do know that the smaller people are getting hurt by these games. And so we got to do something. We got to because this also maybe does water down the experience of getting platinums. I don't know.
I think what they need to do a better job, and yes, it's not like I'm going to run out and buy all these games. I haven't bought a cheap platinum in a very, very long time. And I agree. It is flooding the actual store that people see first and foremost. It's pretty bad. What they need to do, and I think what a lot of people need to do on their own, I'm not saying you have to, is utilize the collection part of the PlayStation Store. Because in there will be the indie, there's the PlayStation Indies category. And you go in there, and that is where your pre-orders for Inscription are, and Cult of the Lamb, and Roller Drome, and Kana, and all these indies that we've fallen in love with will be in that collection. They also have editors picks, which I think would be great for them to, an editor, quote unquote, doesn't even have to be a real person, just one person, multiple roles. Pick out like that Vampire Survivor and put it in there. Just something to separate that from, all these Jumping Food games and all these breakthrough gaming games where the Bible verses are in it that we played on this show once, and I played way too many of those. There needs to be a better way to just separate them, and I 100% agree with that. And I don't know if it's still the case, but I feel like it's a pretty hefty penny to get your game on the main page of any store.
Yes. So
that also needs to change a little bit. Like there's a lot of things to go into it, but
I feel from what I've been told, just strictly from what I've been told, yes, the Nintendo store is really hard to break through because of how many indies get on that store a day. It's really, it's not like the heyday where there wasn't as many of these games out there. Steam, it's really hard for an indie to get noticed as well. From what I hear, Xbox has a better time curating this than PlayStation. I feel like a lot of worry is this. There's a lot of these games coming. And when we see, and there have been weeks where it's like half of these games are cheap platinums, it's like how many of these games are going to get flooded because of those? And that's the only argument that I have. And I just feel like I'm happy that I'm on the right side of history.
Sure. All I'm saying is I feel like these games are there for the people that want to play these. They're not great games, but they're there for people that want that kind of experience. And at the end of the day, it's not hurting the consumer as much. It feels like a lot of people are making it out to be. I get that it hurts other indie devs. I get that, but I'm not in that world. I'm in the world of buying games and playing them.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's not that big of an issue to create all this hubbub.
Well, just kind of think of the last argument, because we're getting really long in the tooth, and what you've been playing, we're going to just nail down to one game each.
Yeah, I see you cross out my other games. How dare you?
Listen, we got the show to run. It's kind of like if in Target, you just saw more and more stuff on the shelves, and half of them were not worth even taking a look at. So, like, why am I going into Target if, like, we got all these vests with only one sleeve on them? You know what I mean? It's kind of like that situation.
I like how you choose the one article of clothing without sleeves to begin with. But, some of these vests, they only have one sleeve.
I don't know fashion. I don't even know what I'm wearing right now. But it's like one pant leg. You know what I mean? So, like, that's like you're checking out the Bego, which is like the knockoff Lego, and it's like all of it, just half of the pieces are there. So that's where the problem lies, is the quality of the store is going down, because the quality of games that I think most people want to play, they're not discovering. And that's the problem, is like, this is a problem for the consumer at the end of the day. If I can't find what I actually want, I'm going to go somewhere else. And that's why I think this is a problem. Because for me, I'm seeing a lot of that, where it's just like, I'm scrolling a whole lot to just see something that I'm interested in, and a whole lot of it is jumping toast, or my name is Mayo.
Okay.
That's the problem.
Last point for me. I think that's also part of the part of that reason of why that's all you can find is it's been a little bit of a drought of big PlayStation things.
But think about it, in a drought where it's not a lot of stuff coming out.
But even with bigger named indies. Even on the smaller side, it's ramping up, starting tomorrow with Cult of the Lamb, but there hasn't been anything like must go buy, I feel like, for a while.
But think about this. There's not a big quote unquote game right now. So you're like, I want to play something. Let me go look at the store. And then all you're looking at is Jumping Toast 1, Bible Verse 3, Bible Verse 16, Tennis Hook. Like all these, and then
also
you're just
the argument could be made that they are also going to PlayStation Plus and the new tiers that they are part in, looking in there.
But I think what you're missing the point on, Kyle, is most indies aren't getting the PlayStation Plus, Game Pass, Nintendo Direct treatment.
Sure,
most indies are fighting for space to get noticed, and it's getting harder and harder for those indies to get noticed because there's too much bloat. And that's
I'm not disagreeing with you on that one. I just don't see it as a big deal.
Everybody, I just want to say, put the hashtag Joe is right. That's all. Kyle, it's a little segment called What You've Been Playing. And this part of the show, we're going to bring on our good friend, Wondrous Will from the MegaDads, to talk about the Cult of the Lamb. Take it away, Will. And with me to talk about Cult of the Lamb, the MegaDads own the Wondrous Will. How are you, sir?
Hello, I am doing very well. How are you?
It is currently 96 degrees. This is a new running joke here at the podcast, but it's truthful, So listen, Will, I'm happy to have you here. I sent out the clarion call. I said, has anybody been playing Cult of the Lamb? Because I need to sit down with someone to talk about this game, because I have so many thoughts. I have so many feelings, because I've watched about 2 or 3 trailers of this game. And though it looks incredible, it looks adorably satanic. I don't know what this game is. And when people are like, yeah, it's a roguelike. Yeah, it's it's an Animal Crossing where I get to sacrifice my villagers. And I'm like, that's great. But what is this game? So you said, you know what? I could tell you what this game is. I could tell you all the things about this game. So
I can tell you all about this.
Walking in, Will, what were your first thoughts on, or what was your first, what were your thoughts walking in on Cult of the Lamb?
Walking in on it, I mean, before I even put in for the code that I got, I thought, this looks like another one of those delightfully bizarre Devolver published things that that I don't know if they seek these things out or if they fall in their lap or what, but I love them and I'm all about them. So I was thrilled to get my hands on this one. And so it's both. It is kind of a roguelike, and it is also kind of an Animal Crossing wherein you can sometimes sacrifice your followers, your villagers.
So what's this story all about? Because to me, it just seems like the one episode of South Park where you got all these woodland creatures and they're adorable the next, 1 minute, and the next minute they're literally having satanic blood orgies. Is this what this game is? Just that great episode of South Park?
It's probably toned down a little bit from that episode of South Park. I mean, we are still flying by with a ESRBT rating. So you're a lamb, and you start the game being sacrificed, being killed. Oh. Because these other four guys, I don't want to call them all powerful, but they are certainly sinister demigod-esque figures called the bishops. And they've been killing all the lambs to prevent the revival of the one who waits, which is something of an elder god that they've sealed away. And they kill you, the axe falls, but the one who waits intervenes, he saves you, and he gives you his red crown so that you can use some of his powers and his gifts to exact revenge on those who sealed him away and build a following for him.
So it sounds like you're just a bad guy.
More to it than that? So you are the lesser of no less than 5 evils.
All right. Okay. That sounds pretty darn cool. So story I'm on board with. You sold me. What is the moment-to-moment gameplay like? Because what I see so far is like this 2D, because I know nothing of indies, I'm getting into the scene. So like Nobody Saves the World-esque like overworld or like a Zelda-like type of game. Is that what type of gameplay we can expect from Cult of the Lamb, or is it something wildly different?
That's kind of close. In my own review for MegaDads, I describe it as a sinister pop-up book.
Ooh.
But yeah, so you've got two very distinct halves to the gameplay. You've got the roguelike aspect where you are going after the bishops and their followers and progressing forward, and then you've got the cult management aspect of it. The combat part where you're after the bishops and things, you open a door, which you need a certain follower amount to open. It's not high. I got there easily. Okay. You get in, and it randomly generates this thing in front of you, this area, and you very Zelda style hack and slash your way through. Some rooms are filled with enemies. Some rooms are filled with people who will give you perks or possibly weapon switches, because your weapon is a little randomized. Okay. There are different kinds of it. There's swords, daggers, axes, hammers, all that good stuff. So you get through that, and then you're given kind of a roadmap. And some of them are for more combat-filled areas. Some of them are for resources, like maybe one is filled with wood or stone. And some of them let you walk in on other animals being sacrificed. Or maybe you find like the sad lone survivor of a destroyed village or something. Sure. And you can save them, you can collect them, you can send them back home, deal with them later. So you get through, you get all the way to the end. You fight a mid-boss. You have to fight 3 mid-boss. Like, a mid-boss is the end of a run. Okay. And each bishop is the boss of the 4th run of their area. Mm-hmm. You fight the bishop, you fight the mid-boss. You convert the mid-boss. Yeah. You send them back to your place. And then after a few runs, you're in. You defeat the bishop, and you break one of the chains.
Oh, wow.
And then you lather, rinse, repeat.
It really does give me that roguelike vibe where like everything you're entering each room is different. It could be friendly, it could be foe, it could be resource, it could be weapon, and you're kind of making, for every fork in the road, you're making that choice, and it's defining not just your character, but it's also defining the cult that you're running. Yeah,
a little bit. To an extent.
To an extent. So for the moment-to-moment gameplay, you sold me here because I'm really into those classic Zelda games. I'm really into roguelikes. I think at this point, it's like Soulsborne, and then right under it is roguelite.
Okay.
Now I want to know about the thing that scares me about this game. That is the cult. Not because the occult's scary, but more like I'm never in the mood to build a base, nor a town.
Okay.
Like,
I see.
Animal Crossing was a rare game where I was just like, I could be a squirrel person and build a nice little house. But like, I'm never into that resource management. So what is that portion of the game looking like?
Okay. So the other side of the coin, you have a few things that you have to build in your one area. It's not that big. And so you've got to build, your central little altar to yourself.
Yeah.
And you need to build a cook fire and you need to build a church. I think that's about all you can get away with. They really appreciate it if you build them beds, or if you designate the resources to have them build beds.
Mm-hmm.
So you go next to your altar. There's this little summoning circle. You go to the guys that you've rescued. You can change their name. You can change their species, color,
all of it.
You can just customize the heck out of them. They've got a few traits that you can't mess with, but they're not like hugely impactful.
Okay.
Some of them are like better suited to some jobs than others. And then outside of that, it's really on the cultists, on your followers, to do a lot of the resource management.
Oh, wow.
You can have them go collect the wood and the stone. You can help them early on, especially when you've only got like one or two.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually, it kind of turns into this well-oiled machine that you come back to. As long as you keep them fed and healthy, which is like a place to sleep and something to eat.
Right.
And some of the things to eat are absolutely horrid, but but we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
That's it. You select a building, you tell them where you put it down where it wants to be. You can go help them build it, or they will build it themselves.
So we're building this nice little cult, like Midsummer-esque feel. But how does that help you? Like, what does their resources, like, get me 7 satanic pieces of wood? How does that benefit me?
Bridge the gap. Okay. So I mentioned that you've got this altar, this statue to yourself. You can have some cultists pray at it and like kind of, their devotion becomes a resource too. And it collects in this statue and you can cash it out. And there's 2 ways to do this. One is the statue, and you can use that to unlock more or upgraded versions of excuse me.
How dare you?
To unlock more or upgraded versions of buildings, like, say, a house that won't collapse in the morning, or an outhouse that has more capacity for waste. All that good stuff.
Yeah.
And that just helps your base run pretty well. And then in your church, once a day, you can give a sermon. And then you'll cash in at the end of that. And that you can use to unlock higher tiers of weapons to be available when you start your runs. Different kinds of weapons, like you get poison, vampiric weapons with increased crit, different curses, which is like your magical kind of alternate fire. There's different forms of that with different effects. And you unlock that stuff. And that stuff unlocks pretty quickly.
Okay. So it's pretty much, hey, build this base. It's going to, for every time you die or every new run, the better this base is built, the better the items you're going to get to go off and do those runs.
Yeah, it has a lot more of a building power level than you see in some other roguelikes. It has kind of a roguelike structure, but it's a lot easier than I think the impression that most people get in their heads when you say the word roguelike.
Right. So am I dying constantly, or is like, how much is dying a mechanic?
Okay. So I played on the normal difficulty, which is developer recommended. I died a handful of times, and not until areas 3 or 4 did I really start to suffer. When you do die, your cultists do find fault with you and consider you a little weaker, and their faith in you diminishes a little bit. But you can always build that back up with some lovely rituals that you unlock along the way.
Oh, Christ.
Ritual that, yes, you can just straight up sacrifice people.
Yeah.
But that's not going to help how much how much faith they have in you either.
Of course.
There are also beneficial ones. You can do stuff as benign as dance around a bonfire or have a big feast, all the way to really weird stuff like having 2 cultists fight to the death and sometimes they will request that. And then there's like
I like that they're like, hey, me and
yeah.
Jeff have this idea, I think you're gonna love it.
No, like I had a quest for one. It's like, hey, so you saved me, and that is fantastic. Thank you so much.
Great.
If you could maybe go back where I came from and find my brother, that'd be fantastic. So I saved his brother, brought him home, and then like a couple days later, he's like, all right, look, I'm glad you saved my brother. I really do appreciate that. I do need you to go ahead and let us fight to the death, though. We are having some problems.
Oh my god!
And then there's
so you're
another
also
ritual.
Solving family disputes. That's
a
great.
little bit, yeah. They give you some requests to do. They're usually not too terribly difficult.
Yeah.
And if you just don't want to deal with it, there is an unlockable ritual where you can just pass out hallucinogenic mushrooms, lock in that maximum faith in you for a couple of days before everybody kind of starts to get hungover and sick.
That is fantastic. I'm glad that like the base building is there. It doesn't seem like it's daunting. Like I think of like Fallout 4 is a little bit too much for me. Now let's get to, before we wrap this all up.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the music. Let's talk about the swooshes, the slashes, all that jazz.
The swooshes and the crunches are pretty good.
Yeah.
For hitting enemies and things. Admittedly, the background music doesn't really resonate with me too hard. It's there. It's not bad, but I didn't find it particularly memorable either. Okay. But the sound effects I found really good. Lots of satisfying pops when you pick things up.
Good. A lot, like it feels like you are like hitting something when you're, actually hitting.
Yeah, you're hitting something whenever you collect enough devotion to unlock something else. You get a nice little sinister choral stinger with that.
All right,
it's nice.
So second to last, artistically speaking, okay. Let's talk about the fine art. How do you like the art direction in this game?
I absolutely adore the art direction in this game. It is the most sinister little pop-up book filled with the most charming little animals, adorable, cute little animals doing decidedly very not cute things. Yeah. And that either works for you or it doesn't. It doesn't really beat you over the head with it, but I liked it a lot. I'm a sucker for good like 2D art anyway.
Yeah.
And this game definitely checks that box for me.
So what are your final thoughts on this? Should someone go out there and spend $25 hairs on the PSN to pick this game up?
I would spend $25 hairs on this just in a heartbeat.
Absolutely.
I would have gladly done so without this review opportunity I got. Yeah. If you like what you saw in the trailers and you're even like remotely curious, or you think this might be for you, absolutely go ahead. I would wholeheartedly recommend this.
Out of the year that has been an amazing year for indies, is this ranking up to like, this could be one of the best little indie experiences I played this year?
I think this could very well be one of the better indie adventures out there this year. I'm really eager to see what some of this post-game stuff is. Okay. They're going to add some more stuff in later, add some post-game. I think just, that'll round it out really nicely.
All right. Well, listen, Will, thank you so much for coming on, talking a whole lot about Cult of the Lamb. Honest to God, you sold me on it. I love the brother dispute. That had me. There's always times I want to fight with my brother to the death. I feel like I'm gonna really enjoy myself with this little game. Well,
it's a good time.
Where can people find you, good sir?
All right, so if you want to find my review for Cult of the Lamb, that's going to be over on the MegaDads YouTube channel, or you can also find a link over at megadads.org. If you want to talk to me specifically, I'm over on Twitter at WondrousWill. And is this coming out on Wednesday? Is this coming out tomorrow?
Yeah. Or cool. People are listening to it today.
Okay.
Or in this moment.
If you're listening to it today, you can also pop over to twitch.tv/WondrousWill at 9:30 p.m. Central, and I'm going to be playing Cult of the Lamb on there. Playing around with some of that Twitch integration.
Link all up in the description there to find Wondrous Will's Twitch and to find the MegaDads article as well. Thank you so much, Will. And with that, let's get back to the show. Oh wowie! Look at that. We're gonna hire some cultists. Wooey, worship Satan, all that jazz.
Make them eat poop.
Make them eat my shit. Literally, that's when he told me that. I'm like, that's wild.
Yeah.
All right, Kyle. Now, I got to play Spidey on the Steam Deck.
Yeah.
For realsies this time. For realsies this time.
What was the other time though? What do you mean?
Well, I did a little doohickey here or there, and I got, PlayStation Remote Play working on the Steam Deck. Humble brag.
Gotcha.
So, for me, when I wanted to play Spider-Man, or when I heard about the remaster on PC, I was like, that's great and all. More PC players, more people playing it, great. I'm not here to play it on my ultra wide. I'm not here to play it on ultra, get all the ray tracings. I'm not here for that. Give me the little Steam Deck that could. So I've been playing about 1 or 2 hours of Spider-Man on remastered on PC on my Steam Deck. And let me tell you something, Kyle. So far, so good. I played about an hour or two yesterday pre-patch. I now played 2 hours today post-patch. This is the future that I've always wanted. Kyle.
That's awesome.
It's it's Spider-Man like we love him. I'm playing it at 30 frames. It's not noticeably dropping in places. It has crashed 1 or 2 times on me, but man, this is what I've always wanted as a kid. A game that is uncompromised, but is also playing on a handheld, no streaming, no whatever. Just this is it. Right here, right now. And playing Spider-Man on the Steam Deck just felt like I never left the PlayStation 4 version or never left the PlayStation 5 version. It feels so freaking great. And there's cool little like gyroscope as well, features as well. So you can help aim Spidey around with the gyroscope. I'm really digging it, man. That's
awesome.
This is really awesome. Again, it's Spider-Man PS4, so it's a fantastic game. You should go play it if you haven't. It is, to me, my favorite superhero game, but I know, Kyle, you love the good Arkham series. That said, it's more of that in a handheld form. It's running great on the Steam Deck. Is it the best looking?
Does it chug at all?
No, but here's the thing. It gets a little loud.
Okay.
You hear the fan, so you want to boost up that volume quite a bit. But it's not chugging. I don't notice noticeable frame drops. I did pre-patch, but it runs incredibly smooth on the Steam Deck at 30 frames per second. I set everything like, give me like medium to low settings. Give me 30 frames per second. Don't kill yourself, Steam Deck, over this. And I think I was playing for about like 2.5 hours before I had to like charge it. So
wow. Okay.
It lasts pretty well.
I saw a really great TikTok on break at work today from GameSpot where they took the Steam Deck and Spidey on the Steam Deck around New York City and went in the game and then panned away to the actual in-person landmark.
Oh, that's
I was like,
awesome.
oh, that's really, really cool. So yeah, I mean, it's awesome that you can play Spidey on the go and not just I don't mean it in a bad way, inferior Spider-Man of the past. Like this is the best Spider-Man game. So like to be able to play it on the go and experience that amazingness that Insomniac put into it. What a world we live in. I'm so happy.
Dude. So it is, again, it's more Spider-Man. I can't wait to
Steam Deck
actually
version too. Like I'm happy for PC players just in general.
to wonder,
experience this game.
Because like Rigo writes in, since now you can play Spider-Man on PC, do you think we'll see Macho Man Randy Savage mod for Rhino? I can see you saying, "Oh yeah," as he rushes you. Absolutely,
I want the Paul Giamatti Rhino. From,
no,
that's what I...
Relax. And Johnson also writes in, I hope you all are having a great day. With the Steam Deck being out for a bit now, what accessories or add-ons would you recommend for it, making it the best gaming experience possible? I'll be fortunate enough to get one by the end of the year. I'm hoping to get the best experience possible since I could play Spider-Man, Cult of the Lamb, and a few other of my favorites on the go. Would love to get your input. I saw someone else going, what's the next PlayStation game coming here? I pray to God it's Ghost of Tsushima. I pray to God every day. I say, God.
Well, Miles is coming in a few months, right?
Yeah, Miles is coming in a few months, apparently during the holiday season. But for me, all I have is a case on my Steam Deck. I don't have any weird doohickeys. I know that the deck isn't out yet, but the stand that plugs into TV. I don't want it for that. All I literally wanted to do is play weird indies that I can't get on my PlayStation, like Vampire Survivor, and play like these games that I'm gonna be revisiting, like God of War, like Spider-Man, on the go. That's really all I want.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
You really don't need to do much for it, unlike the Switch. Like, you don't need to go out there and buy the weird grips because the thing already feels freaking great.
I was gonna ask, do they have a whole lot of like Steam Deck accessories already?
I think they have a few, but just not a lot. I think
Nothing
you could start
crazy.
pre-ordering the official Steam Deck, though you could get like your dock, but there's like unofficial ones you could get for it. Yeah.
Okay.
So again, game run's great. It's more Spider-Man. Kyle, what have you been playing, man?
I've been playing a little game called Escape Academy. That game is so good.
What is Escape Academy?
Escape Academy, are you familiar with an escape room?
Yes.
So that is literally what this game is. There's just a bunch of escape rooms framed as a university, a college, an academy, if you will.
Oh,
and you just go through different escape rooms, and there's a story where you are things go down with the professors, and I don't want to spoil anything because the story is actually pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
And it gave me, and this is one of the highest compliments I can give any puzzle game.
Go for it.
I got Portal vibes.
Oh,
from the tone and the humor and the characters and whatnot. Each escape room is uniquely different from each other.
Okay.
There is a hint system, and it does dock you a little bit if you're trying to go for the best score possible.
Right.
But like, it is so rewarding when that solution clicks in your head.
Right.
And you can find it, and it does a great job with helping you with that. And the answer is right there. I think there's going to be more escape rooms down the line as like DLC.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so excited. It is a great platinum because it does feel like you've earned it. The only downside is that once you know the solutions, you can run through every escape room in like under 2 minutes.
Okay.
There's not a whole lot of replayability there.
Mm-hmm.
But it is so fun. It is well worth your time for sure.
All right, go check it out. Go check out Escape Academy. That said, Kyle, it's time for some flash news. Gotta run. Gotta go fast. Oh my god, it's showtime.
So hot.
It's so hot. It's so hot in here. Sony is no longer reporting PlayStation 4 units, which makes the official sales of the PlayStation 4 to hit 117.4 million.
Ooh, boy.
Rest in peace, sweet prince. I really wish they just carried on for a little bit longer so it hit that even 120.
120.
Yeah, that's gonna bother me. The point 4 is gonna bother me.
Yeah.
Matthew Kennedy writes in from the Star. He says, "Hey gents, thinking this is a Sony pony question. Close. Sony has officially stopped reporting PS4 shipments at roughly 117.2 million. This is by far the most epic generation in gaming history. The more I think of it, the more I have to say it's been my favorite, especially at the age where I feel I could truly appreciate games and what they've done for the community. We've had epics at God of War, Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us Part 2, but I want to hear about some of your favorite sleeper moments from the PlayStation 4 generation. Anything from games to acquisitions that might have flown under the radar for the mainstream radar. Anyway, can't wait to hear your thoughts. To me, the PlayStation 4 generation is my favorite generation.
By far.
It's been so amazing for me. And you're right. I think it came at the time where I think I could appreciate games the most. Like when I was at my early 20s, I could buy all these games that like I wouldn't have otherwise. I talk so much how Bloodborne changed the way I thought about approaching games. Like Ghost of Tsushima was a game that I did not think would be one of my favorite games of all time, is my favorite game of all time. Mm-hmm. You know, God of War is to me it is a masterpiece game. Fantastic. I love it. So like there are just so many little things about that console that I truly appreciate, and it really is all the first party games that I think since Bloodborne on really just hit for me in a way that I never thought that it would hit for me. So
yeah,
I love the PS4 generation, though I don't know if there's any like quote unquote sleeper games that I feel like I clung to.
it's hard for me to think of a sleeper because like I just keep thinking of like Resogun or like the PS Plus games that we've gotten throughout the years that have turned out to be fantastic, like Rocket League and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
But those aren't really sleepers; they're huge hits.
Yeah.
But when I think of the PS4 generation, and I'm trying not to think of the games because the games are fantastic. Horizon Last was Part 2, God of War, Ghost, amazing. Or Resident Evil 7, just really great things. But what I really think about of the PS4 generation is PlayStation finding its voice, really,
Mhm.
when it comes to specifically like E3 presentations.
Right.
PS4 generation is when we got the best press conferences, bar none, that they are just trying, everyone's trying to reach that level
Yeah.
of quality. Like I think of the God of War moment where Corey's playing it on stage. I think of the Kojima walking down announcing Death Stranding. I think of the Spider-Man, which happened immediately after Death Stranding. Like the Final Fantasy VII remake being announced on stage. Like there's so many amazing moments that happened during this generation. The whole like here's how you share games on PlayStation clapback
Mhm.
at Xbox. It was huge.
Yeah.
So I think of just PlayStation finding a way to talk to us in an exciting and fun way that was hype as all hell, for better or worse. It
Yeah.
was very, very fun.
That I think I think we kind of want to desperately go back to.
Yes,
Yeah.
we need them to start talking. Like,
Yeah.
hey, Sony, we're a few weeks away from September. When's that? What seems to be an annual September showcase? What's going on?
Yeah. Get back to those standard like bulletins. I know we're getting back to normal, all that jazz, but like
Mm-hmm.
let's start talking to us again. I don't
Just show us trailers, one after another at the same time.
I don't care how long it takes.
I just want to see. I want to feel something again.
Exactly. That said, talk about getting to see stuff and feeling something again. Gamescom opening night live takes place on Tuesday, the 23rd, August 22nd. Ooh, they said it like a European. You see that? They put the day in front of the month. What is this? All right, whatever. Below you'll find the start times for the various regions. We're only doing North America background and only Eastern Standard Time because that's the time that matters. So expect it again. Us reacting to it. August 23rd, 2022, North America, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Ooh, I don't know if I can make it. Got work.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah, that's Tuesday.
I might be a little. We could always do a
reaction after the fact.
Yeah, we can watch it after together and live react there.
Yeah. So check out our updates on that over at PS Trophy Room on Twitter to find out what we'll be doing afterwards because that's it's all post show. But
how much PlayStation we get in there though? Do you think?
Lucky if we have a game. Maybe we see God of War gameplay, but I don't know. Honestly.
Yeah.
There's no excitement here for this because I kind of expect what this showcase is going to be. It's going to be a lot of like second party indie stuff.
It's going to be a Summer Game Fest Part 2.
Exactly. That's what I'm kind of feeling. So
yeah.
Hey Kyle, have you seen this? Have you heard about this? The full list of games being added to PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium on August 16th is as follows. We got your Bugsnax.
Yeah.
We got your Dead by Daylight.
Great get.
We got Everspace, Metro Exodus, Monopoly Madness, Monopoly Plus. Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands, Trials of Mana Uno. So, I remember the craziness of that was 360 Uno.
Yeah.
That's a lot of crimes happen in the Uno community, let me just say. Yakuza 0, Yakuza Kiwami, and Kiwami 2. Ooh-wee. Dicko writes in, I've recently gone to the extra tier to try to catch up on some exclusives I've missed. This includes the Spider-Man games. Do you think the PC version will result on the PlayStation 5 version coming into the extra tier rather than the PlayStation 4 version? Or is it a simple matter of waiting and starting to play these games in all their sweet num-nums? God damn it, I thought we went one show. One show.
You can't escape them.
No, I don't like it. I think you'll see the PlayStation 5 version come out eventually for PlayStation 5 in one of these tiers, but not anytime soon, unfortunately.
Yeah, and yeah, I agree with that. And as
Still
far
bundled
as
in
this,
with Miles, but
yeah, as far as this list, where are those classics, Joe?
you're right. There are none.
Where are those classics? Unless we're getting another mid-month refresh, but
There are no classic games. I did not
there's
mention. I did
not
not even.
one single classic game, which bums me out so much.
I'm saying this right here, right now. Do not, guys. If you're interested in getting PlayStation Premium, just don't.
You can wait.
Wait.
Like Bugsnax is great. You know I love Bugsnax.
Yeah.
Dead by Daylight is huge. So that game is huge.
I bet
and
they're
that is a
counting
great-
Kiwami. That's what I think they're counting.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
The Yakuza games.
Yeah.
Maybe they're counting Uno and Monopoly, or Trials of Mana, even
Yeah.
though that's like a remake. But like Metro Exodus is huge. Dead by Daylight is huge. Trials is actually pretty big. And the Yakuza is big. So like there are big stuff here, but like
You're right.
you're holding this like cherry, this little gift above our heads.
Yeah.
And
A little nom
pulling it
nom.
away from us as soon as we get close enough.
Yeah.
Like
Fair enough.
here's all these classics that we know have been rated. We know that they are coming, but we're not giving them to you yet.
No. Yeah, no, you're totally right. Again, yeah, I did not. It's a shame. That's a shame.
Yeah.
Again, premium's not worth it. The more I think about it, just put premium in extra. Just
Yeah.
why is it there? I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't get it. Hey, Kyle, you know what I do get though? And you better
What?
be holding on to something.
I will real quick though. Give me a number 1 through 10.
7.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
So
He wasn't prepared for
okay.
7.
Go to redeemdigitalmovie.com and type in the code NQ8DPN30WAD for a little Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness love.
Ooh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, you're
Okay.
welcome.
Also, go to a Hulu. Go watch Prey.
Oh, I need to do that.
Oh,
I need to do that.
it's really good. It's really good.
Yeah.
All right, prepare the drop. Here are the latest deals and deals coming to the PlayStation storefront on August 8th. International Boxing comes out on PS4. Shoot Run comes on PS4.
Well, what a name. Shoot round.
Shoot Run. Is this one of those platinums? Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going to look it up.
9th of August, Classic Racers Elite comes out on PS5. 2 Point Campus comes out on PS5, PS4. August 11th, Arcade Paradise on PS5, PS4. Cult of the Lamb on PS5,
Yeah.
PS4. Rumbleverse on PS5, PS4. And on the 12th of August, Voyage comes out on PS5. Cult of the Lamb, go get it. You know,
Please
2
do.
Point Campus, go get it. Also, a little bit of flash news as well. Marvel's Midnight Suns has been pushed back from 2022's release over to somewhere in early 2023. Please, for the love of God, don't put it in February. Don't put
Please
every
don't.
game that gets delayed in the holiday
Please
in
don't.
February. Please, for
Please
the
don't.
love of God. And PlayStation 4 and Xbox One versions, who knows when they're coming out? There's no definitive date. I just want to point that out because we're in a fantasy league with our good friend Sean Capri and Ryan Turford over at the Xbox Drive, and they're about to lose, and it's hilarious to watch them burn, fall, stumble, and we're in their heads rent free. It's pretty ridiculous. It's pretty ridiculous.
Really quickly, Shoot Run is actually a paintball game.
Ooh,
I'm shocked
That's
that
my
there's not
paintball
more
noise.
paintball guns. Paintball guns. Dear God, Kyle. Paintball games.
I know they're really good.
Yeah.
I didn't have a spider. I had there was like a really cool one that I had.
Oh, you actually owned one.
Yeah, there was like an angel that was like $1,700 paintball gun. It was really good.
Ooh, I only went. I've only been paintballing once. It was for
I used to
a
be
good friend of
in
my
it, dude.
bachelor party. I had so much fun.
So good. It's so
I hit
great.
his dad in the face with the paintball.
Yeah.
It was great. It was. a good
I'd be
time.
pretty bad at war because like these are just paintballs. I'm pretty scared. You know? All right, Brandon English writes in.
Whoa.
Sorry.
I was about to, okay, I was about
I'm
to
losing
say.
it. I'm losing it.
Whew.
It's 99 degrees. We're in the middle of a heat wave. Gosh darn it. It's time for our favorite segment of the night. It's the Sony Pony Express.
Yeehaw!
And again, our mute buttons don't work. Gosh darn it. Mute buttons don't work. The heat is taking everything from us.
Yeah.
But they're not taking away some amazing questions. Brandon English writes, Kratos steps through a portal to another realm, all green and checkered,
Uh-oh.
where he is met by a blue blur that appears to be eating an appendage on break while insulting Kratos. He stops. It's Sonic. Joe, this is me now saying, technically, it's not cannibalism, because to Sonic, we are just all cattle for the slaughter to this space hedgehog. Who wins the fight, Sonic or Kratos? I want to see Kratos disembody Sonic.
Yes, there's no way Sonic wins this battle.
No way. Sonic's a dumb idiot, and Kratos is a master of war.
He's got speed. That's all he's got.
He's all he's got. Kratos has got to just hold a foot out, and he's going to trip like a dumb idiot. So we got to stop pretending Sonic's a good character. We got to stop pretending Sonic has good games past, the Dreamcast era. We really got to stop it. Like, Mania is good. Colors is good. The rest of them, throw them in the trash where they belong.
But in this universe, though,
throw them in the trash.
Sonic is eating an arm or a leg?
Yeah, an appendage.
Okay, so he is a little bit more ruthless, I think, than the Sonic we know, but
sure.
I don't know. Just
Kratos is literally
in rage mode. Yeah, exactly. I think he can do it.
Enigma 9011 writes in. Ooh, cold to the lamb.
Yeah.
Question. I've been re-listening to past episodes, and speaking of Spider-Man, when do you guys think we'll see it again or get more information about the sequel?
September showcase, whenever it happens.
September showcase. 100%. 110% we're seeing.
I will put all of my life savings, all $15.13, that we will see Spider-Man 2 or whatever showcase comes next.
If
there's a showcase. Oh my God, can you imagine if there's no September showcase?
I'll die inside. No, it's definitely happening. It's happening. Spoiter13 writes, hey guys, love the podcast. It always brings me great joy listening to it while slaving away at work. My question for you guys is, I appreciate it. Thank you. If I may, what game coming out in the future that 100% exists would you play right now if given the choice? Mine would be God of War Ragnarok without question. Love you guys. Right now, if I had the choice, absolutely God of War Ragnarok. That 100. Right? That 100% exists, but it has to be in its finished state. Or close to.
No. I think just any game that has been announced.
Oh, okay, Spider-Man 2. And it was perfect. That's the way the Final Vision. Man. That's what I'm thinking.
I had an answer. Now all these other games are flooding to my brain. I was like, oh yeah, God of War, obviously, but Gotham Knights would be cool. But I was like, if any game that's been announced, give me Suicide Squad.
Ooh.
But better yet, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
All right.
Come on. Yes, please.
All right. I respect it.
Yeah.
M9 Prime writes, Sony Pony Express question here. Yeah. I was talking to my wife, and she said fashion from the 2000s is making a comeback. Oh, God, I hope not. Denim, jackets.
Jenkos.
Oof. The 2000s was also a time of plastic instruments.
Oh, yes.
Do you think those will ever make a comeback? What does he mean there? Plastic instruments.
Guitar Hero controllers.
I'm a big dumb idiot. Don't even worry about it. I wouldn't mind playing a game like that. It's 100 degrees.
It's 103.
In the middle of the heat wave. Come on. I wouldn't mind playing a game like that now since it's been so long. Last month I downloaded Avicii Victor game on PlayStation Extra and had a blast with it, even though it plays with a controller. Give me Guitar Hero again, but this time do it right.
Oh yes, I miss my guitar controller so much. Yep. I have the Rock Band drums still, but those things they're not accurate anymore. Like there's lag and stuff on it. Like it bums me out. So I think we'll ever get a music rhythm game with plastic instruments again? Probably not, and that makes me sad.
Fair enough. And last question of the night. Sorry, Una. Sorry I didn't get your question in on time. I'm so sorry. But this comes from Jedi Master Ren. What's your most anticipated game coming out before Ragnarok? What about the game is gravitating you towards it? So what is a game that's not God of War Ragnarok that we are most anticipated for, or we're patiently waiting for come this holiday? And why is it Callisto Protocol?
That is a good one. And another game a lot of people like to poo-poo on.
What's that?
It's Gotham Knights.
You really believe in it.
I want to play that. I do believe in it. I want to play that game so bad.
I don't know, man. The more I look at it, I'm like, I know I'm gonna like this, but like, I don't know.
That's all that matters. So at the end of the day, you know.
But like, I'm thinking of our fantasy league, and
it's gonna do great. It's gonna do great.
I don't think so, man. I really don't think so.
Great. Any. So in Fantasy Critic, any score that is above a 70 is good. So if it gets a 78, that's average. I'd take that.
I wouldn't.
I'm sorry.
Right. Kyle has overridden me here. I've begged him. I've pleaded with him.
Well, there are other reasons that we will get into at some point.
Some point when this whole thing blows over.
Yeah, maybe. Well, yeah, but next week we can talk about it.
Yeah, I just want to say that Sean Capri sucks. Sean Capri really sucks. I hate him. Well, everybody, that's been the Trophy Room this week. I hope you all enjoyed your time here. I know I did. Kyle, is there anything you'd like to shout out, spotlight, before we head on out of here?
Sure. I like to spotlight myself, Mr. K-Step on Twitter and pretty much everywhere. You can follow all the 61 Indie coverage of indie video games over at 61indie.com. That's SIXONEINDIE. Please go give next week's episode of IndieCast a listen, and it is our good mutual friend Mike Tandro's last episode, as he has gotten a job in the industry over at Vicarious PR, which we are so very excited for him, but I'm a little sad that it won't be part of 61 Indie stuff going forward, but he deserves it, and absolutely. I'm going to try to make him cry on that episode, so give it a listen.
Yeah. And you can find me over at Mr. Badbit. You can find the show over at PS Trophy Room. And remember, we are still doing The Last of Us Part 1 remake giveaway. So if you're like, oh, I'm boycotting it, Sam doesn't look as amazing. Did you see that screenshot?
Yes, I did.
Oof, lazy port, right?
So lazy.
So lazy.
It's just the PS3 version again.
I know.
Get over yourself.
Yeah, he looked fantastic. Anyway. Listen, whether you're boycotting it but still really want to play it, or whether you're passionate, you are excited for it, please head on over to our Apple Podcast feeds. Rate us 5 stars there. Drop your Twitter in the bio, wherever. Drop us something nice. Say something sweet. It really does help us out. We've been getting so many sweet 5-star reviews, and it really just puts the fuel in our engine, man. It makes us keep on keeping on. So make sure you rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, or we are only 13 reviews away from hitting 400 reviews over on Spotify. 13. That is crazy. I thought we would get 100 by the end of the year. We're about to hit it. We're about to smash that record. And just screenshot it, send it to us over at PS Trophy Room, and you are entered to win a copy of The Last of Us Part 1, whether it's on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or both. Double your chances to win. Head on over at PS Trophy Room and send us your reviews. With all that said, with all that out of the way, everybody, keep your wits about you. Keep hunting.
There it is.
And keep playing PlayStation. It's 120 degrees outside.
Yeah. Bye. Love you.